little bit about Gillian. So having earned her bachelor's degree in biology from Bristol University, Gillian pursued a career in natural history filmmaking, working on a number of Animal Planet and Discovery Channel series, as well as a large screen format IMAX production called Bugs 3D! Exclamation mark.
There's an exclamation mark.
This is literally as big as it gets for a film about insects. I think I saw that. Gillian is drawn to the natural world and its rich vein of stories full of universal themes of awe, wonder, defeat and victory, struggle and survival. Stories from nature can help reveal and reflect our own nature, a powerful tonic as more and more of us embark on our recovery journeys and seek to fall back into connection with nature. Gillian joined the BBC's much-loved Spring Watch, and in 2018, alongside hosts Chris Packham, Michaela Strachan and Lolo Williams, she also recently presented the BBC's Blue Planet UK with co-host Steve Brown. Really lovely to see you again, and to see you in the flesh, to meet you. Because we had a bit of a thing, didn't we, on the last one we had?
For a little bit of context about so this was during one of the lockdowns, I've lost track now, but it was a Zoom conversation we had. And I live in Cornwall, deepest, darkest Cornwall, internet not great, and we just had major tech challenges. So in the end, my experience of it was I had to switch off my cameras. Everyone else had to switch off their cameras. So I was literally talking to my laptop and had no sense of like if anyone was even there still, whether I was still online. So I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for giving it another go.
Yeah, well, no, thank you. And it was a great conversation. I know being on the receiving end of that can be really difficult, but there was some fantastic feedback.
Thank you. I'm glad. Also, I just have to say, it's so funny. I write those, I write a biography about myself in the third person, and then I have to sit there and hear it back, and it's really awkward. It's like, okay, shake that out. Just get that over with. Yeah.
I know what you mean. It's kind of strange. So I'm going to ask the same question that I asked at the first conversation, which was about, and I did read some of this in some of your work online, which I found really fascinating, about a memory of a connection to nature that really brought it into your heart and into your life in a way that you hadn't experienced before.
Wow. Okay. I don't know if I think I was very lucky in where I was born and when I was born as well. So I was born in Kenya, East Africa. I was born kind of on the outskirts of the capital city, Nairobi, but back then, because it's that long ago now, it wasn't rural, it wasn't sort of, in the wilds. Where my family home was built on a former coffee plantation. So it had already been farmed, it had already been used, So it wasn't like elephants, grazing through. But it was still pretty, it wasn't tamed, I guess is the way to put it. So that was what I was born into. So I was born in the mid-70s, when long before there was daytime telly, particularly in Kenya, or devices or any kind of distraction. So as a child, there was no other reference point for me, like playing out, like from the point I'd had breakfast, my time was outdoors, unless I was in school, of course. And being outdoors was where the business of being a child happened. We would just shoot out of the house if we were in the house. There's really no reason for us to be in the house. There's nothing to do. So being outdoors was just what I did. And outdoors still had, trees to climb, thorns to, thorn bushes to fall into, termite trails to investigate, little gutters and ditches. And those little features are actual, like for me, it's like there's a mental map of the landscape that I used as a child. And there were rocks I would climb, trees I would climb. There were little, like I said, gutters. They were actually storm drains that we probably shouldn't have been playing in, but we did. And we'd crawl through the tunnels of the storm drains, things like that. Not recommended, by the way. Just
Yeah, it's fun.
really not right. Those are the good old days. So probably the most vivid memory of things that I did I was really fascinated even then by insects, mainly because they were probably the easiest thing to see. They came and found you. And, you know, like looking at termites was one of my favorite things to do, because they're, you know, obviously very busy social insects. They've got their agenda. They're, you know, busy looking after the colony, making sure the queen is fed and well kept, so she can lay her eggs and keep the whole thing going. And part of that busyness above ground is sending out little trails to find food. And those trails were, the way they build them is they create these like tunnels out of the mud. And in Kenya, particularly where we live, the earth is like this ochre red. So there are these like red mud tunnels, trails everywhere, which kind of, now that I think about it, it's like this terrible disguise, because it's really obvious where the termites are. You see these bright red tunnels, but anyway, they don't know that. And as far as they're concerned, it's a great way to get about. And so as a kid, what I would do is I would just break a little like section, like a thumb width, to see what was in there. And almost immediately the soldier termites would pour out. And, you know, like, right, we've got a breach in the tunnel, what's happening? And as the workers scurried and started, like, they would need like little balls of mud with, you know, I guess the saliva that they secrete. And they would just get to work to fixing this breach in the tunnel, like immediately, while the soldiers postured and tried to protect and figure out what this threat is. And that, believe it or not, was my entertainment. And, you know, lots of stuff like that. So it was the little things, and it was having time, a lot of time, and being unsupervised. At least that's what I thought. I was never really aware of where the adults were. You know, I don't think it was neglect, I don't. But what I mean is that there was a lot more freedom to explore my world at my pace, in my way, and be drawn to the things that I was naturally curious about, and find my way of engaging with that. So it was just, that was what, you know, that was before all the big things like the elephants and the giraffes and, you know.